Welcome to the Emotional Eating Unwrapped podcast. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, an emotional eating and weight loss coach for women looking to fall in love with eating, create healthy attachments with food, and lose weight sustainably. Hello and welcome to another new episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, and I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is more and more women are replacing real coaching, real support with AI, with artificial intelligence. They're asking chatbots to build meal plans, to create mindset exercises, to coach them, effectively coach them through cravings, coach them through emotional distress. And at first, it can feel kind of magical. Like finally, there's someone that's available 24/7 who won't judge, right? Who will give you instant answers, instant solutions, certainty that you're craving, and won't charge you, right? It's like right there. But here's what I want to share. One of the most important things that when you start trusting in chatbots and artificial intelligence as your coach, you're not just outsourcing the information, right? You're not just outsourcing strategy. You're not just going to a bot and to a artificial intelligence for information. What you're doing is you're actually severing the one thing that you actually need to get the result you want, which is a relationship. And let me explain why. Because healing your relationship with food, healing the addiction that you have to dieting, that feeling of disconnect that you have between yourself and your body, or that feeling that you have, that emotional distress that's going on within you, that happened because of an unsafe or unreliable or something that was missing within human connection. So much of our relationship with food is a mirror of and our relationship with our bodies. And it's a mirror of how much we felt seen, how much we felt supported. It's essentially a mirror of our attachment. And so in order to heal, in order to get the certainty and security and the confidence and the empowerment and the freedom that we're actually looking for in our relationship with food and in our bodies, we need to reprogram our biology, our cellular biology, our cellular memory, right? We need to reprogram that to safety, to certainty. And the only way to do that is through a relationship with a human person that can co-create that with you, right? That can co-create that with you. So whereas AI can give you information, a plan, even like a really detailed strategy that might make you feel really relaxed for a moment, right? Because you're like, oh, okay, I have this whole plan. It doesn't give you the attunement that you actually need to succeed and get your results forever, right? It can analyze your habits, right? It can analyze your habits. It can spit back a little bit of analysis, right? But it can't feel the emotional charge, the emotional flavor of what's really going on. It can't access some of the neurons, the memory neurons that are the root cause of so much of your relationship with food and dieting in your body. So today I want to talk about the hidden danger of using AI as your coach and why it feels productive. Okay, because it's totally normal if it feels productive to you. But I want to talk about why it feels productive, why it actually will backfire, and what you actually need instead, and how you can create that and how you can get that for yourself. So the reason that AI feels so supportive, Okay, because I totally understand. It does feel supportive. I mean, it gets me. I put it in and it spits out something that totally is my truth and is kind of shifting a perspective in my mind. Right? I'm not saying that that's not the case. You ask it a question, you give it information, it gives you clarity. You vent, it responds with empathy sounding words. Right? It's instant feedback, which is something most women rarely get in their real lives. But that support is missing the crucial ingredient, which is co-regulation. Okay, because real coaching, it doesn't just give you answers, it creates a new attachment environment. It helps your body feel safe enough to apply the answers. The actual chemistry of the relationship between another human person that makes you feel seen, right? The chemistry there, that is really what is the alchemy of the healing. A woman in my community, someone that I was coaching, once told me, I asked AI to help me stop binging. It gave me a 10-step plan. It was everything I've already heard, right? I've already seen this, right? I've already read a blog post about this. I've already saved 25 carousels on Instagram about this. And even though I had this step by step, I still felt so alone. And that's because emotional patterns, like I said before, emotional habits, they don't heal through logic. They heal through being present with another human person, reprogramming an old relational storyline, an old relational memory. Because at the end of the day, true coaching, it's not about the information always. It's not about perfect advice. Right? It's about helping you notice what is happening as it's happening. It's not about perfect information. I can keep repeating myself about this, right? When a client messages me mid-craving and says, I don't even know why I want this, we don't make a plan. I'm not giving them a 10-step plan of what to do. What I do with them is I help them regulate themselves. Right? We slow down, we breathe, reflect. And, I have my methodology. I have the way that I work with people in order to help them trace back moment to moment what she's feeling and how this got here. What is how we can get to a more clear place by also including what's going on right now. Right? What's going on in the moment. So the coaching isn't just information, it's nervous system translation. Okay, AI can't see that. AI can't notice the subtleties in the way that someone is typing something in a text message, right? Where you can sense, right? AI doesn't have a sense, right? It doesn't notice your voice shaking. It doesn't see body language. Right? It can help you name a pattern. It can give you the 10-step strategy intellectually and logically to get out of a pattern, but it can't help you regulate the experience. And so that's why knowing why you're triggered isn't enough. You need someone who can sense when your body is speaking and help you interpret the signal, right? You need to be able to understand what's going on in the moment and what the moment is really bringing up. Right? What is the history, the past history that this moment is representing? What is the past emotional history? What is the past cellular memory that this moment is bringing up? How can we get there? How can we access that? And how can we take that information, that clarity, that insight to transform this moment so that it can help with some of the behaviors that you're trying to change? Okay? That's what we really want to do. And part of why a lot of women love the AI coaching is because it gives you a sense of safety, because it keeps you from having to be seen. It lets you feel like you're in control, right? You don't have to really put your trust in someone else. And that makes complete sense. Many of us have been burned by unsafe authority figures. For a lot of us, that's one of the core roots of the addiction to food and dieting, the toxic relationship that we're feeling right now with food. It's really, really important that we recognize that this outsourcing to AI, this AI coaching, this is really actually just reinforcing that pattern, right? It's reinforcing the isolation, right? At the end of the day, it's intellectual safety. It's not emotional safety. It's not actually stretching the areas that you need to stretch. It's not actually healing the places that you need to heal. You don't need to heal your intellect, right? You don't need to heal your intellect. You don't need to know more things. I can't tell you how many women that I have coached, they're so smart. They do not need more information. They do not need to know more stuff. They need to allow someone to see them in real time. They need to have an experience where they're seen and they're not judged. They need to be able to express themselves and still feel like they belong and they're accepted and they're chosen. AI can't give you that experience. An AI coach can't create that emotional environment with you. It can only, all it does, like I said before, is reinforce the myth that you should be able to heal alone. Okay, it's really important that you realize that when you go to a chatbot for coaching, all you're doing is reinforcing that traumatic response that you need to do everything alone and that you can't be seen and that it's not safe to be vulnerable and that it's not safe, when really what you need to do is reprogram that operating system through having a relationship, usually through coaching, right? Because it can facilitate that environment for your nervous system to repattern and to practice and receive this way of becoming and this way of being seen so that it can become normal, right? You've built a good life. From the outside, it looks like you have it all together. You eat clean, you work hard, you take care of everyone, but there's this one area that still feels impossible to master, and that is food. You can eat perfectly all day and still end up in the kitchen at night wondering why you keep doing this. You promise yourself you'll start fresh tomorrow, and I know you mean it every single time. But the cycle, it always finds its way back, especially when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, or when you're just tired of being the one that's holding it all together. And I get it because I lived that way for years. And what I learned is this: the problem, it was never about food. It was the pressure underneath it, the perfectionism, the self-doubt, the part of me that never felt safe and secure to just be me. And that's why I created the sober eating sequence. It's a proven 3-phase method that rewires the emotional patterns and the belief systems driving overeating so you can relax, trust yourself around food, and release weight completely naturally, without force and without obsession. Because when your body feels secure, it lets go. The cravings quiet, the self-punishment, it softens, and food, it stops being the thing that you have to fix. This is not another plan. This isn't another rule book. It's a revolutionary transformation for your nervous system, for your body, and for your identity. So join the sober eating movement today. Coaching is not just about the information you're getting, it's about the emotional experience that you're inhabiting. A lot of times that is the biggest breakthrough of coaching, is the emotional experience, not just the information. Being more independent, being more isolated, being more solitary because it's coming from a place of lack of trust in others isn't healing. Right? Interdependence, being able to co-create a secure interdependent dynamic, that is what healing is. Because when you rely on the AI coaching, you end up, like I said before, staying in your head, right? Consuming information, collecting insights, building plans, right? It's all that masculine stuff that we've talked about in other episodes. And that will feel like progress to you, right? Because you have more to do, you have more to follow, you have more to project that this is going to work and follow a structure and a plan. But it's really just another form of control, because you probably already know this, but you can spend hours, days, months, years working on yourself without ever touching the part of you that actually needs healing, which is the cellular memory, the emotional embodied part. I've seen this pattern so many times. I was one of those people, right? Women become experts in their own psychology, but they still binge, they still restrict, they still body check. They still don't, like how they look in their clothes. They still don't trust their bodies. They're still afraid of feeling full. They still feel like they have no control over their appetite or over their impulses with food. And the reason is because no one is helping them practice the felt experience of safety, what it feels like to be in a safe experience. A real coach, a human coach, a trauma-informed, nervous system attuned coach holds that mirror, creates that environment, right? She notices your body's cues, even if it's over text message. She notices your tone in person and over text, your pauses, the way that you're typing stuff, the way that you're saying words. Right? She doesn't just tell you what to do. She helps you feel what you've been avoiding, right? Because information without this integration of a new emotional dynamic is just another diet. It looks productive, but it keeps you disconnected. And that's the truth. The self that you are becoming is not a perfectly coded algorithm. It's not something that's going to unfold by following the 10-step chatbot plan. She's the wise, loving, patient presence that's inside you already that learns how to feel safe through connection, through interpersonal relational dynamics. That starts usually with a real coach. Because when you work with a real coach, you're essentially borrowing her regulation. You're borrowing her grounded energy. You're borrowing this from her until your body learns what safety feels like on its own. And a good coach will do that for you. That's what I do for my clients, right? I provide the umbilical cord for this and then slowly teach my clients how to have it for themselves. And then I remove myself from it so that they're not dependent on me, but they are now this regulated, grounded energy essence themselves, right? AI can't model that. All it can do is mirror data back to you in really creative ways. So instead of replacing human guidance as your coach, right? Instead of replacing humanity with technology, use the technology as a tool, a journal prompt, a reminder, a supplement, while you keep the real coaching work relational, because that is really the benefit of coaching, while you keep it relational. Because the version of you that's healed, the one that you know is inside, doesn't evolve in isolation, right? She doesn't evolve in isolation. She evolves through connection, through reflection and safety, which are all these things that AI is not designed to provide. It never will. Regardless of how many iterations, how much more advanced it gets, it will never be advanced enough to be a human with sense, with senses, with attunement, emotional attunement. That just will never be the case. I'll eat my words if that is the case, but I don't think so. So here's what I want you to remember. You cannot outsource transformation. AI can tell you what to eat, what to think, even what affirmations to repeat, but it cannot teach your body what safety and secure attachment feels like. It can't help you and co-regulate with you. It can't guide you back when you want to give up. It can't read in between the lines of what you're saying and what you're really feeling. Because real healing, it requires human connection. It needs that human connection to repattern old cellular memory. It needs nervous system to nervous system, mirror to mirror, right? So if you find yourself leaning on AI for support, ask yourself, what am I hoping it will give me that I don't feel safe asking a real person for? What am I hoping that I'll get? What am I trying to avoid? That could be vulnerability. That could be financial stuff, right? That could be a lot of things, but just ask yourself that. And that question alone will tell you where the healing needs to begin, because the goal isn't to be endlessly optimized, right? The goal is to be human and be happy, to feel seen, held, connected, right? And that's the difference. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you are watching or listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple, please rate and review. And if you would like to enter our monthly giveaway for a free one-on-one coaching session with me where we can do all of this work together, please leave us a rating and a review on Apple. You could send a screenshot of your review and your rating to Be Well by AK on Instagram or podcast at Be Well by AK. And until next time, I'm Alana, and thank you for listening to Emotional Eating Unwrapped.